right, yogis, we are going to get upside down today. All right, this class is for those of you who have a fairly solid, consistent handstand. You can get up there and hold a few breaths, okay? So you've put in some time, some work, you've got that core strength, you have the shoulder alignment, and now you want to find maybe that lighter liftoff or the press, the elusive press, right? We're trying to unglue our feet from the ground and just float up, okay? So that's what we're going to talk about and explore a few different options so that you can find the one that works best for you to ultimately find that liftoff. And it might not happen today, that's okay, all right? But a few key components before we actually get moving. I want you to really think about that compression. If you've done any hollow body or compression work aside from this, we're gonna find that folding in of the body before we press. So we're really going to try to keep that no matter what press we're doing, okay? We're going to look for that stacking, so we're getting our hips up nice and high every time. And a big part of pressing that sometimes gets overlooked is the flexibility. Like we've built up the strength, but then maybe our hamstrings are so tight and they don't allow us to get in the right position. So if that may be you, you know, aside from this, work on some more hamstring flexibility and know that it will ultimately aid your press, okay? Also, talking about the legs here, we do want them firing. Sometimes we forget about them. They just kind of flail once they get off the ground. So we want energized legs and really utilize the front of the leg to start to lift you up and the hip flexors as well, okay? So just put that knowledge up there as we work through some presses, okay? So to begin with, go ahead and stand up, okay? We're gonna take the feet a little bit wider than hips. Just gonna get a nice hamstring stretch to begin with. So go ahead and inhale, reach the arms straight up, get nice and long, and exhale, hinge forward. Take another inhale here, get even longer, and then exhale. Reach the hands to the ground. Your choice of a forward fold if you want to grab the outsides of the feet, the big toes. If you want to work in a little bit of shoulder opening, why not, right? While you're at it. If you've got that clasp, reach those knuckles up instead of forward today. Really pinch the shoulder blades into the spine. Let the head and neck dangle here. Keep engaging the front of the leg to allow more access into those hamstrings, that opening ability. If you have that clasp, go ahead and release it, fingertips to the ground wherever you are. Take an inhale, long spine, and exhale. Come on up to stand, okay? So, coming from that position, we're going to go into a straddle press. We're going to use the aid of our blocks here. So you're going to need your blocks handy. You're going to place them about at the same width that you just were for that fold, okay? So you're going to just plop your feet up on the block. And what we talked about in the beginning, we want to get close and compress. If I try to press with my hands way out here, I create so much more work for myself that I don't have to, okay? So we want to draw the hands in as close as that flexibility will allow, all right? So let's take that big inhale, just like we did in the stretch. Get long. Exhale, use the belly to fold forward, compressing it. Plant the hands. Take an inhale, lengthen the back, and then as you exhale, start to lift up onto the toes. Now just hold this here a moment. Notice, did my elbows splay already? That's no good. We don't want to crumble in our foundation. So press the ground away. Keep plugging the shoulders in, gripping the ground with the hands, and then start to stack, as we talked about, those hips higher. Maybe you start to float. Maybe it's a little wobbly float. Maybe one foot comes off the ground, the other. Okay, if you found that float and you need to release a moment, that's fine. Then you'll try it one more time. And again, you might not get this today, but these are approaches to start practicing. Again, maybe you just get light on a toe. If you find the float, start to straddle up. Keep the arms strong and straight. And if you've come up, I want you to come down as slow as you can. Work that negative. Even if you came up just a little bit here, still slowly lower down. You can just release into a little squat there. Sway it out, shake the hands out. Okay, if that worked, great. If not, that's okay too. All right, we're gonna try some other approaches that might be the right one for you. Okay, this next one, I want you to bring your blocks together. Okay, you might only need one. If you have big feet, bring both together. Okay, from there, you're gonna stand on the blocks. Take an inhale, reach up. Exhale, hinge. Again, inhale, get long. Exhale as you fold. You may have to bend the knees, and that's totally okay. If hamstrings are nice and open, you can keep the legs extending straight. From there, maybe the knees are bent, maybe they're straight. Either way, you want to get the hands pressing into the ground, okay? I'm already starting to feel that stacking as my hips come over top. Now, let's take one knee into the chest. Okay, so we've already got one leg off the ground. Then can you lean forward just a little, maybe float the other knee up and find that tucked position, just drawing everything in. If the foot didn't leave the floor, that's fine. If it did, bring it down. Take a moment if you need to shake it out. Replant those hands, and let's tuck the opposite knee in. So pull it in and up, and then maybe you're just here, just kind of tap dancing with your toe. Maybe it can pull, 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 heel to bum, squeeze, 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 and slowly return. Okay, just another option. Set those blocks aside a moment. Go ahead and sit down, give yourself a break. Bring the soles of the feet together. Okay, we're gonna sit up nice and tall. Inhale, and your exhale, just crawl your fingers forward. I'm not letting my bum slide forward. I'm keeping my tailbone rooted and then lengthening out here. Just relax into this a moment. Try to work those knees towards the ground, gently opening into the hips. Neck can just dangle. Again, just use this as a little rest. Regroup before we try another approach. And then walk it back in, okay? So this next one is a puppy press. So it's gotten its name because dogs lift their leg up to, do their thing. If puppy press sounds odd. That is a very technical term, right? You can totally use a block for this one. It will assist you more. Or you can go from the ground. Feel this out, okay? So we'll come on up here. Again, the block may be under the foot, or maybe you're just keeping it on the ground for this one. Come forward, and let's take the right leg, hover it, and all we're gonna do is wing it out to the side, okay? So we're just creating like half a diamond shape like we just were in on the floor, okay? From there, press that ground away. Come high onto the tippy toe. Again, no sinking. Keep pressing. See if you can lift. Again, you already have that leg in the air. Maybe you find a little float and down. If you start to float it up, it's going to wing out to the side and meet the toes. Maybe you're floating, maybe you're just tiptoeing up and down. If you came up, come on down, either to the floor or you've got that block under the foot to assist you, elevate the floor to you. Okay, shake it out. Plant those hands, press the ground away, and let's take that left leg, wing it out to the side here. Okay, again, pressing the ground away, maybe letting that foot float. Maybe just toying with up and down, or pressing it up to the center. And if you came up, slowly, come back down to the ground. Set everything down, roll it up, shake it out, okay? Another version of the puppy press is done with the legs straight out to the side, okay? And I'll show this one with the block just in case you do want another assist. Again, bringing the round closer, less room for you to float up, easier to stack to begin with, okay? So if you're using the block, let's go ahead and put the left foot on the block. Bring the hands down, plant them, squeeze that ground, plug those shoulders in, step into the left foot. And all we're gonna do is lift that right leg out to the side, lower it down. Lift and lower. My toes are pointing forward, lift and lower. Lift, hold. Now keep that leg up and see if you can't float that left leg up too. To your degree. Again, it may be a few inches. It may stay glued to the block, but you have that thought of all those actions that we need to finally float it up. If you're up, bring it down. Right leg comes down. Step off. Move your block to the other side, and we'll hit up the other leg. Okay, so this time your right foot will be on the block or grounded on the floor. Bring those hands underneath you. Lift the left leg. And again, we're just gonna do a couple opening and closing just to kind of fire up the outer hip. This standing leg's hip keeps hugging into the side. Lift that leg one more time. Keep it high. Press the ground away. Get those hips high. Maybe that right foot starts to hover. Notice I'm not sinking into my elbows. I'm keeping them strong and straight. And if you floated, bring it on down. Set everything down. Walk off to the side. Pop on down to your mat. Okay. From there, we're going to take a straddle. Okay. So scoot yourself forward. Legs are extended. Knees are pointed up. You're reaching those sit bones into the ground. Take an inhale here. Keep reaching the tailbone back as you walk those hands out. And just settle in here. Keep the top of the leg, the quads activated. Keep pulling the toes back towards your knees. Keep extension through the spine, but just let the head relax. And then slowly walk that back on in. We're gonna come circle back around to that straddle press that we did this time, feet on the ground. If you didn't get up with the feet on the blocks, another chance to hit that up. So grab the blocks if you're not floating. If you floated without the blocks, then try this. You may not get off the ground, but you're still building the strength. And again, I just want you to think of all that floating action. Eventually, it will happen, okay? So come to that same stance, get tall, and we'll just fold right forward. Bring those fingertips under the shoulders. Really lengthen here. And then fold it on in. Squeeze the chest towards the legs. Plant those hands. Come high onto the toes. Straighten those arms again. Draw the belly button into the spine. Activate the front of the leg. And then float on up. Or think of floating on up. If you came up, how slow can you lower down? No matter where you floated up to, you're slowly, with control, lowering, building that strength through that negative work until you hit the ground. And come on up to stand. Okay? Next, we're going to do a little bit of a tuck press. We're going to start with one knee in, similar to when we had our legs on the block. Okay, so let's just do a little work to get ready for that. Come to a flat back, and let's extend the right leg. Straight back, toes point down. Take an inhale here, open the chest. On your exhale, I want you to pull your knee to your nose. Inhale, extend. Exhale, draw it in. Just one more time. Inhale. Exhale, pull it in. Keep that. Plant those hands. Press those shoulder blades apart. Tuck that right heel to the butt. See if you can come onto the tippy toes of the left leg and maybe float it up and get in this tiny little tuck, drawing everything in. Hold it, or keep lifting and lowering with that left foot, just toying with the idea of getting up. If you came up, lower on down, shake it on out, and we'll switch sides, okay? Same thing, fingertips this time. Flat back, left leg lengthens, and you're standing L here. Take an inhale, get some more length. Exhale, draw it all in, pull it in. Inhale, get long. Exhale, heel to butt, draw the knee into the nose. Last time, inhale, space. Exhale, pull it in. Stay tight, hands plant, toes of the right foot, and maybe bring it on up. Keep pressing the ground away wherever you're at. Push those scapulas out, protract them. If you've come up, slowly lower to the ground. Shake it out, shake it out. Okay, and then just come to a seat. Let's extend the legs out in front of us. Okay, sitting high on those sit bones. Root down, grow long through the tip of the head. Pull the toes back, engage those quads. My heels almost float. I'm lifting them so much. Take an inhale, lengthen. On your exhale, I want you to hinge forward. So it's not a round. I'm keeping my long spine, just hinging at my hips. Keep hinging to your degree. When you feel like you're at your spot, I want you to take an inhale. Think of that halfway lift, but don't sit up. Exhale, hinge a little further. One more time. Inhale, think length. Exhale, hinge. Hands can rest wherever you're comfortable. Keep extension through the spine. No rounding. Even if you want to touch your toes, don't round to get there. Keep that flat back. Okay? Keep breathing. Big inhale. Exhale into it. And inhale. Come up. Okay? So the last press we'll look at is the pike press. And that may be what you're familiar with when you see presses and think, I want to press. It's just those legs going straight up when they're hooked in together. Okay? Again, hamstring flexibility is big in this one. So you can take a block again for this one, or you can stay on the ground, just depending on how these other presses went and where you think you want to go. If you're taking the block or blocks, they're going to go under your feet. You're going to plant the hands on the ground. Again, to get my legs straight and stacked is hard sometimes if we're really tight in the back. So if you have to start bent and then try to press up, it's a little extra work, but it's doable, okay? So if you're on the blocks, you're on the blocks. If you want to go to the ground, you can go to the ground. Same idea. We're going to squeeze the legs together instead of having that space between them, but really make them solid. Find that length in the spine, and then plant those hands, okay? Grip the ground. I want you to, again, find that protraction of the shoulders. So you're plugging the shoulders in to begin with. I'm pressing the ground away, okay? You're gonna get high on those toes. If I start back here and then try to press, it's really hard because my hips are way behind me, right? Especially with this pike press. So get the hips up high to begin with. And then you may hit that point where you feel like your feet can float. You may not today, and that's okay, but you're getting in that position, you're finding that engagement, and eventually you will find that lift off. So wherever you're at, slowly lower, even if they didn't go all the way up. If you're still just finding those little taps up, that's fine too. But keep that negative work, slow lower. Don't let the elbows bend at the end. Keep them strong and straight. Set it down. Inhale, find some length. Hands under the feet. Exhale, find some release for those wrists. Dangle it out. Release those hands. And you can simply hop to a comfortable seat. Okay, so those are just some of many approaches to finding that lift off. If it didn't happen today, keep practicing. That's all there is to it. Practice, practice, practice. Okay, so keep trying, and I promise they will unstick from the ground.